Hey guys, Josh Gundam here with another Gundam MSA review, and today we're reviewing GPO2A version 2. This is a big deal. This is a very rare figure, hard to find. A lot of people don't even know it exists. For years, I didn't even know it existed. It's very, 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 very cool and very unique. And here's why. First off, it's a version 2. It's a completely unique sculpt, different from the version 1. It has little neat things about it, which we'll cover in the review, that just make it completely unique and very, very cool. Here's a second thing. This is the only GPO2 regular version that Japan got. Ponder that for a moment. Lucky guys. Now, in some ways it's unlucky, in some ways it's really lucky. They got the version 2. Here in the US, we did not get the version 2. Forget about it. But we did get some others, which are cool too. But besides the Battle Scarred 2-pack, that's right, Japan has a Battle Scarred 2-pack of the GPO1 and GPO2, which are the same sculpts as the American releases, but done completely different. It's just in their looks, and I look for a review on those. I have that, I believe, and they're very cool. But this is the only GPO2 they got. Now here in the US, we got this guy. And he's not a bad figure. It's GPO2, same figure, but, you know, different sculpt than the version 2. And it's the wrong color! It's the wrong color! It's not supposed to be off yellow. It's supposed to be gray. And so that's, you know, something that can drive you nuts a little bit. I still recommend the figure. But the EZ8, the Camphor, the Alex's Armor, and the GPO2 are four of the figures that I know off the top of my head that they did the colors wrong for the US releases. Which, again, color variations are awesome. That's not so bad. I'm glad we got a version 1. But, you know, the color was wrong. It's noteworthy. So that's one reason why this guy is so cool, is because he's the right color. Second off, it's also different than the second release. See, for Bandai, realizing that they totally goofed, which I wish they had done this with the EZ8 and the Camphor and other things, but oh well, I guess those days are behind us. They released a second version of the GPO2 with the right color scheme, and the Bazooka was custom, so it actually fired a missile, which I don't have, but it has a little button on it here, and nope, right here. It fires a missile, just very, very cool, and it was the right color, so it's probably, besides the version 2, my favorite version of GPO2. Way better than the version 1. So that's one of the reasons why this guy is so special. Now let's cover the actual review, where you'll get to see all the differences if you have a version 1. Still buy the version 1. It's cool. But, man, if you can find this guy, you want him. Just trust me. The shield is one piece. Look at this. The shield is one piece. He's got these really flexible feet, and so he gets a little back heavy without his bazooka out to help balance him out. The version 1 shield is way smaller. Okay, that doesn't show it, but there you go. But it's got these little movie pieces. Why? I don't know. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, I like it, but this shield is totally different, and it looks super awesome. Like, if you need to survive a nuclear explosion, which shield do you want? Shield A or Shield B? Forget Shield A. I want Shield B. Definitely. So the shield's different. Totally different. For the record, this guy comes with some really good sword hands that don't like to let go of the shield. And the swords fit in there quite nicely, as you can see right here. The blades are green, but it's a different blade than the version 1 US release. Here's a really cool thing too. These don't really have that catch in them where it stays in really well, so they kind of pull out easily. That's kind of sad, just a little bit, but they go in. This is where GPO2 stores his beam sabers. And you actually kind of have to plug it in to this pipe here. If you can see that. There we go. Takes just a little bit of work, but it has that Very realistic. This is how GPO2 works. Kind of feel, and you appreciate it. So we'll just put that in there too. Try and get it attached to that pipe. Ooh, it really does take some work. Well, we're just going to kind of leave that one. Hope it doesn't fall out during the review. Oh, there it goes. I knew that would happen. So he comes with 2 closed fists, 2 sword hands, and 1 trigger finger hand. Kind of a thing about this trigger finger hand that you'll see here soon. It's one downside, actually. I mean, like, the hands are on a ball joint. So that's awesome! Ball joint hands, always awesome. But the original has this hand that has a bit of a tilt to it. It's tilted downwards. And so that helps him hold the bazooka at the right angle. And that would have been a little handy if they just kind of included that just a little bit. Let's keep covering the shield before we go any further. Shield's very similar on the inside. You can see still holds the bazooka in there. This comes out. This comes out. This little end right here actually fits in to this little hole peg, or round peg there. So there's a specific way to put the bazooka in, different than the version 1. Inside of the shield looks a little different than the version 1 as well. Just more detailed, nicer. Able to actually withstand a nuclear explosion. There we go. That shield handle turns 360 degrees, so that's nice. He holds the shield reasonably well, but it's still a pretty big shield. So now we have our bazooka, and I want to cover the handle real quick. The handle moves, so that kind of makes up for the hand not being there. Nice black detail on the inside of the bazooka. And it doesn't fire a missile. I kind of wish that it fired a missile. I mean, it's unnecessary, because it's going to sit on the shelf and look awesome, but it kind of would have been cool. So the bazooka fits on there quite nicely. But before we actually cover the bazooka, I want to cover a few other things. Basic articulation. There's a ball joint in this red part of the foot. This moves all over the place. It's got kind of a ball joint and then another joint on it. Just this piece. Ooh. Then, of course, the foot's on a ball joint. The more foot that's in there. The leg is double jointed, as you can see. So the knees go that far back. Legs go that far forwards and that far back. The armor is kind of different. Here in the back, it actually lifts up. Waiting for my camera to focus. There we go. This new camera has a manual focus button. It's very cool. So if it's taking too long or focusing on the wrong thing, I just press the little button and go, focus on this camera. And it totally works. It's really awesome. Here's a cool thing. Compare the backpacks. This one, fairly plain. This one says 002. Just a little bit more detail. Really like it. These are colored. So the waist can move some, but not a whole lot. I suppose you could force it just a little bit more. The elbow is double jointed. Gives some great articulation there. Great for sword fighting. Arm turns 360 degrees. Hand turns 360 degrees. The head has a lot of detail in it. Just a lot of detail. Here's a cool thing on the thrusters. Okay, first I want to show you the regular one, just so you appreciate it. Put the thrusters up. You move these down. You reach in here, and you pull these down, and it takes a little bit of work. Then you decide you want his thrusters to go back up, and you go, oh, right. And you fix these, and you go like that. Watch this. It's so cool. Okay. And then, of course, these back ones, which you would still have to turn on the version 1. Turn those too. So when you move these thrusters out and down, these ones actually come out. They move down, and you can see them. It's just really neat. And then you can do it back, too. And of course, these move around. There's just a lot more flexibility in them. If you move just this one moves too. The thrusters, decent, flexibility. These internal ones don't really move. This moves. This moves. Just very, very cool. Backpack is actually glued on this figure. So we've covered, the arms and everything pretty much. They spin, just for anyone that doubted. And now we're going to put the bazooka on. Now, notice how this fits on here. There's a ball joint here, then there's a little joint here, and then a little joint here, and then another ball joint. Very, very cool. Lots of work put into that to design it and everything. I want to be a toy designer, so I see beauty in toys and in their designs and the art of play and all those things. And so, now we are holding the bazooka. And you can kind of adjust it, based on the joints back here that hold the bazooka on. Excuse me. And the joints within the arm. So it has a little bit of flexibility and things. Oh, these also turn. Like, if you hold the shoulder still, you can just turn these, which is pretty neat. Separate flexibility. We can move the bazooka forwards, but it takes a little bit of a toll on the arm and the hand. So it still takes some effort to really aim it, where the aimer's in front of the eye and things. It's doable, but it takes some effort. So I just don't even really bother. Whereas the version 1 for the US release, and even the second release for the US, it's not hard to get the aimer in front of the eye. It's relatively easy. But on the version 2, it takes some work. It really does. Things get in the way. They don't want to bend right. They bend at the wrong spot, or the hand pops off. But overall, a great improvement on the figure. Just absolutely great. You can see this guy just flying around. It can be that fast, agile, jump out of the way, and have beam saber battles instead of the bulky, I barely move version of the figure. Which, the MSA, even the version 1s, have fantastic articulation. They put most toys to shame. But this is just so amazing. Well, if you're looking for Gundam MSA action figures or other cool toys, make sure to check out our eBay store. There's a link down below in the more info area. And for those of you who didn't know, there is a version 2 Japanese GPO1 regular version as well. And one of these days we'll review that as well. Hope you enjoyed the review. And if you're looking for Gundam toys, check out the store link down below. We have all kinds of cool stuff, including customs.